about that. Welcome everybody to the Bleacher Brothers Sports Network. Robbie Lastella here alongside Drew Shula, and we're joined by special guest FAU star forward Kaleb Glenn. Caleb, how's it going?
I'm going good. Just finished practice. I want to thank y'all for having me on too.
Oh yeah, man, I appreciate it. Tried to have y'all on when you guys weren't in the middle of a busy week last week, but Jake just mentioned last week was academic week, so I know that week last week wasn't all just an off week for you guys. Um,
Nah.
but but overall, though, kind of reflecting a little bit. First couple months in Boca Raton here, how would you say it's been so far, adjustment wise? Having fun?
Oh yeah, definitely. I'm definitely having fun. It's been an easy transition. Um, it's Florida, so like it's a lot to do, and then basketball's going good too.
And I want to ask. I also want to give a shout out to the Glenn family because over at FAU Owl's Nest, we got supporters, but the Glenn family is active supporting our work that we put out, especially anything that has to do with you, Caleb. So shout out to them. But what's it been like for them? I mean, this is your second time transferring. You transferred in high school too, which that's a whole new world. So, but
Yeah.
now you're farther away from home a little bit. So what's it been like for them?
They just been trying to come to all the close games. So like they came to Auburn, Charleston, and then they're gonna come up to the Memphis and UAB game because they're like close in driving range. So
I love that. I've seen different families around at different road games and whatnot, so it's cool to see who comes out to what. But Caleb, kind of take me back a little bit. Growing up in Louisville, I believe that area. When did you first get into basketball?
I first started basketball around I'll say like fourth grade. Yeah.
And so when you were hooping in fourth grade, I remember I was playing basketball. There was always those like couple kids who were just like way better than everybody. And I heard you in the post game say the last time you threw down four dunks in a game was probably high school. When you were playing back in fourth, fifth grade, were you kind of just like the best player out there, or did that come later?
No, actually I wasn't that good. I was just tall. I was just laying the ball up, getting rebounds, but I didn't start dunking until like I was 12. So like 2 years later. I started growing into my body and I started developing more.
So when would you say Caleb Glenn turned into potential, uh, NBA potential, college basketball player? When did it all start to click?
I say like after COVID, I started getting a lot of attraction, like D1 offers. So yeah, I'll say that's one. Yeah.
So back in high school, though, I read somewhere where you mentioned why you transferred. It was to Lalu to try to better get used to that schedule, professional style schedule and whatnot. And that, Coach Jakis has mentioned Lalu. He's got a lot of respect for that high school as well, prep school. So what was that experience like for you? And would you say that's kind of set you up for some success here in college?
Oh yeah, definitely. I loved my time at Lalu. It helped me on and off the court. It helped me develop for college. It's like a college scale schedule, but just in high school. So yeah.
So what were the types of teams though that you would play there? Was it like the best like the LaMelo Ball type high school teams, or were you guys like regionalized?
Nah, it was Montverde, IMG, AZ Compass, Sunrise, all the prolific preps, like yeah, those
Do you have
types
any
of.
crazy players you played in high school that you're like, how was I on the court with them at the same time? Because you hear Montverde and you're like, wow, that's crazy. Like in high school already.
See, I only did 1 year, and that was my senior year. So it was like all players I played against growing up. So
Gotcha.
Mm. So I want to ask though. So you go to Louisville out of and last year probably wasn't going as planned for you. So kind of reflect on last year a little bit, and it kind of seems like you've been able to build on the struggle a little bit, at least early on into your first year at FAU.
Last year I had some struggles. It was a hard time adjusting, especially with everything going on and within that pro. So I had to like turn on my tunnel vision and finish the year strong, and then it helped me get to where I am now.
What and so we've heard Coach Jacobs talk about this being the right situation for you as well. And what kind of has made this the right situation where you're able to really flourish? I mean, your 3-point shooting's up, everything is up for you personally, from what it seems like.
I can just be myself. Last year I didn't get a ton of opportunity to showcase my abilities, and then now I can showcase however I want and just be myself.
Has it been difficult at all, kind of coming off the bench, or do you kind of embrace that role of being, the energy guy off the bench?
Now I kind of embrace it. I actually like it, so it's been good for me. Uh,
What makes you like it? I feel like a lot of people. I mean, we heard Trey when he was elated to be in the starting lineup. I mean, I'm sure he doesn't care either. But I mean, is it just kind of that's the role you've embraced, or is there something about it you like?
Um, it was something different. I mean, my whole life I've used to starting games, so it's just something different.
So what's it been like though this season so far for you at FAU? You guys have had a little bit of ups and downs, but last game it seemed like really flipped a switch for you guys. And I want to ask specifically, Coach Jacobs mentioned that you specifically were the spirit of the rebounding improvement. I don't know if you guys are aware, but you've only lost the rebound battle one time since ECU, and Coach Jacobs believes you're a big part of that. So what was it like, kind of rallying the guys after the ECU rebounding struggles?
Well, we was getting out rebounded a lot, so it was big emphasis on winning the rebound battle. So I think I took accountability of that in practice, and I've just been applying it ever since.
I feel like rebounds are kind of something people are not as much into, but I feel like that the dirty work stuff like that, whether it's rebounding, steals, that's the type of stuff that gets you noticed. Is that like something you've kind of picked up on as well? It doesn't just have to be scoring for potential NBA eyes to get on you.
Well, ever since I've been playing high school, I've been trying to figure out different ways I can impact the game at every level. And I think rebounding is one of them, and playing defense.
And you mentioning different ways to kind of impact the game. I feel like that's kind of been the key of this FAU team. You guys brought in a lot of new pieces, and you guys have all kind of had to accept different roles that maybe wasn't what you were at your last school. How has that kind of been as a collective group? Kind of, you all now have, it's not just somebody stepping in here and taking on a new role. It's nearly all of you guys. So how you guys kind of attack that as a collective group?
As a group, we all try to go out there and work hard and just basically do everything to win the game, whether you're scoring or not. Just go out there and play your hardest.
Mm. It, Kaleb, We've been asking you all basketball questions here so far, and I kind of want to switch it up. I noticed the tattoos. You got some dope artwork. When did you get into tattoos, and do you have a favorite one?
I got my first tattoo at 16. Yeah, I don't. I'll say my favorite one is my mom's name.
What's the next? I feel like everyone who's like crazy big into tattoos has plans for more. Do you have plan for more or no?
Yeah, in the future, I want to get my leg done.
Anything specific, or is it just like a sleeve?
Nah, I don't know. I don't know yet. I gotta think about it.
That's good stuff. Kaleb, I wanted to talk a little bit about your family and growing up. So your dad, if I'm not mistaken, played football, and
Mhm.
then how many siblings is it? Five or
Five. Mm.
yeah? So big family like that. I'm sure all of them were also into athletics. How did that impact? It's got to make you the most competitive person there can be that you can be.
Yeah. Well, I'm the oldest, so my
Ah,
younger siblings they try to compete with me. So it's a very competitive household.
so you
I
got
would
to
say.
pick on them a little bit.
Yeah, of course.
100%. And then just some other off the field stuff. I saw big Madden player.
Yeah.
There we go. Any favorite teams to use? Are you still playing Madden?
Uh, I like to use the Ravens because of Lamar.
It's a cheat code.
Big Lamar guy.
You can't stop Lamar. I'd hate to play you there. And then another one I saw that I was interested in because it's kind of like a polar opposite of basketball, such a physical sport. You like playing chess?
Yeah, I used to play growing up.
What got you into that? It's like such a strategic game, kind of the opposite of basketball. And what did that teach you, kind of a little bit?
When I was in elementary school, I was kind of like a nerd a little bit. I used to read a lot, play chess. I got into that, but I think it's a very strategic game. I think it helps me with basketball in a way and my IQ and stuff like that.
Absolutely. Sometimes it is a little bit of a a chess match during the game, especially late in the game, close. And then just one last thing for me, I was wondering like any off the field interests you got besides those, like maybe something you like doing around campus or anything like that.
Usually, I'm just in the house playing game or watching basketball. That's usually what I do.
And then I always ask every athlete that goes here, do you have like a spot you like to go off campus? Maybe a good spot you like to grub?
Uh, Chick-fil-A.
There we go.
Chick-fil-A. That's the most.
Yeah,
I feel like that's the easiest. I feel like we've heard that one before. I mean, it's right on campus, so everyone's got to go. If you like Lamar Jackson, you got to go. He's got a place in Pompano. It's called You Ate Yet. It's soul food. It's really good. It's his restaurant. It's good food down there, not for sure. Did
yeah.
was what was the good food like in Louisville back at home?
Uh, Louisville, it got a lot of everything, so you can't go wrong with anything.
What and I like on that same note, what has been your favorite road trip? It doesn't have to be at FAU. You could go back to your time at Louisville. What has been your favorite road trip? Was it that was I feel like that 12-day road trip this year where you guys were in Charleston got to have been crazy.
Yeah, that was crazy. But my favorite road trip was when we played in Madison Square Garden last year.
Nothing wrong with New York. Nothing wrong with New York.
Uh,
Are you a fan of the cold like that, or are you more into the weather down here?
I love it down
Good answer. Good answer.
here.
I gotta ask though. So I want to ask you about some of your teammates. You kind of been the captain of that bench role. You and Nico kind of steady on the bench role, but Matas has recently come onto that bench role with you guys, and he seems like he's been kind of excelling. And as a young freshman, you were that last year. He's kind of in your shoes a little bit, although different because he's from Lithuania. But he's been growing. It seems like. What have you kind of seen from him in his time, especially since moving to the bench, where I think he's excelled?
When he first got here, he impressed me a lot. But I think ever since that first day and now he's improved a lot. And I think he's gonna be very special, like years down.
What does so I want to ask about the family over everything mantra that you guys have going on. I have that tatted on my chest. I was ahead of the game before you guys got on that. But what does that kind of mean to you guys as a team? How do you guys go about like embodying that?
Putting each other first, playing hard for each other, and always have each other's back.
What kind of makes Coach Jacobs the right fit for you as a player? It kind of seems like you know I haven't heard him once ever speak negative. He's just like a really positive guy, and I don't know if I was a player, I feel like that would be very helpful.
Oh yeah, he feeds into his players. He instills confidence in everybody, including the coach and stuff. And that's what you need in a head coach. If someone's giving you confidence, you're gonna go into the game with how confident.
And who's been probably the assistant coach that you've worked with the most, and what have you guys worked on?
Coach AD, We work on shooting, uh, getting to the room, everything.
What's it like? What's it like? No, having that staff. I mean, I feel like a lot of them, a lot of different connections all over the place. Whether it's NBA, college, overseas, insane offenses at the college level. What's it been like, kind of having that hodgepodge of different, basketball experiences, and how does that play off on you guys?
So it's definitely good. You got a lot of experiences, like you said. You can ask different people different questions, and it's good to have that type of intel.
Kaleb, I don't want to keep you on here too long. We're winding down here. Don't worry. But I want to ask. So you guys are in the midst of conference play right now, and I'm sure you guys don't look at this, but I do. It's my job. Ken Palm, the analytical model, has you guys favored in the next couple of games, and Todd Abernathy even mentioned a win like UTSA could spark an avalanche. How do you guys go about these next couple of games? I'm sure it's similar, but is there kind of a want to kind of flip that gear and get into a stretch here where you guys are just dominant?
Yeah, we talk about that every day. Coach Jacobs mentions that February can either make or break, and we want to be able to make and then make a run and then get to conference tournament or maybe get a bid.
You guys have had a lot of experiences on the road this season. We've heard about it. We've seen it. I was in Charleston with you guys for a little bit. I got tired just being there. Nice city though, but
So,
Um, AAC tournament. What do you guys think you've learned, at least you personally, from the struggles, road games, whatnot, that thinks makes you think you can go into this AAC tournament, doesn't matter what seed you are, and go in there and make some noise later in the year?
I think we just gotta have build momentum. As you can see in March, it's just whoever gets hot at the right time.
Big game this Sunday. I know you're not too familiar probably yet with the FAU USF rivalry. There's a little bit, it's growing. Some of the USF fans want to deny it, but it's there. I don't know if you've seen, but the student tailgates at FAU, they get pretty crazy. There's going to be one in the parking lot this Sunday. You got a message for the fans at all, Kaleb, on what they can expect if they bring that energy from the parking lot into the building?
We gonna need y'all. We got a good game coming up on Sunday, and we gonna need y'all help to come out with a win.
Kaleb, my last question for you here. What are you trying to accomplish most on a personal goal and or a team goal, whichever you prefer, down the end of the stretch here this season?
Uh, for me and as a team, just grow every day, just stay in the gym, keep working.
Kaleb, I appreciate it very much. Thank you again for coming on and taking some time to speak with us. Is there, I know I've been seeing some posts from you guys. Is there anywhere people can go to contribute to your NIL at all? Or is that just, I've been seeing some posts. Is there a link you that you're a part of at all or no?
Uh, NIL in paradise.
NIL in
That's
Paradise. Go
yeah,
visit that one, folks. Kaleb, once again, I appreciate it a lot. And best of luck this weekend. USF coming to town should be a fun one.
appreciate it.
Yes, sir, folks. We'll take a quick break right here. When we come back, me and Drew got some AAC matches to watch this weekend. Welcome back, everybody. Thank you once again, Kaleb Glenn, for taking some time to hop on with us. Drew, we were talking AAC before on Inside the Borough. We keep. It's been a while since you've been on here, but I like to talk about some of the other AAC schools around the block and to keep up with them. And to me, the hot topic right now, at least that I've seen on the depths of social media, is UNT coach Ross Hodge being a hot name to watch this off season. Now, FAU contingent has seen this before, unfortunately, and they're we're around this block experienced now with coaches hitting the road. But Drew, what's your thoughts on North Texas so far? I mean, I know you haven't been able to watch all the games, but you've seen some. You've seen them versus FAU. And they seem like the same mean green team with players that were not a part of their team just a year ago.
Yeah, UNT's been the most consistent group in all of the AAC. I said this probably a week or two ago, and nothing's changed. They're a really good team, and it's not because they're paying a lot of really good individuals. Like these guys that came in, it was considered a net loss what they lost on paper from a year ago, and I think that's a testament to Ross Hodge, who I think does a great job with North Texas. They've been well coached for a long time, since Grant McCasland, who was his mentor. It's yeah, I mean, it's like you said, us FAU guys. I mean, not just in basketball but in football with Lane Kiffin. We've seen it before, and then in basketball with Dusty May, we've seen it, and it's not, it's not a testament to the state that FAU or UNT or those other AA schools are at. It's just the nature of the game. There's some schools with some larger athletic revenue models and budgets that are able to pay 5 times what we are willing to, and they also are willing to contribute significantly more NIL to give coaches a better chance at winning. It's just the situation of college athletics. But the good thing is that, those programs like FAU and UNT, they have good athletic directors with good search search parties and search organizations, and they're able to find these good guys. Like we think John Jagus will be good. We think Zach Kitley will be good. In football, UNT hired a bowl game, a coach that made a bowl game right away and has a good offense in Eric Morris. So like UNT lost McCaslin, they replaced him with a good coach. So it's not the end of the world, but it is indeed very possible that Ross Hodge leaves.
I don't know just yet. There's not a Texas job open, but Rodney Terry is not, winning the world over there at Texas. So
It would be
I don't
crazy.
know. I feel bad for North Texas fans
I
in
don't.
advance,
I don't.
because that
We
would
must do it.
stink. That would stink. I like good basketball in the AAC, and UNT is a big part of it. They're standing atop of the conference right now at 7-1. UAB in a tie for third place at the moment at 6-2. Then it gets into the mix of things. You got Temple and Tulane at 5-3. Then there's FAU, ECU, and USF at 4-4. FAU really can kind of squeak their way in there. They're rooting for a Temple loss, or they're rooting for a Tulane loss. Got their own matchup with Temple. And then USF this weekend, you beat ECU already. I mean, it's the door's open for FAU to get a top 4 seed, get a bye in the AAC tournament. But I've been impressed with Memphis's ability to not fall off. I don't know if that's a thing to be impressed with, Drew, but I mean, they're looking the part that they should of a team that's 19th ranked in the country. You've got talent out the wazoo between PJ Haggerty, Tyrese Hunter. And then you've got guys who are talented but have accepted their roles. You look at a guy like Colby Rogers, who took over in Memphis's win last night against Tulane. That's not a PJ Haggerty. That's not a Tyrese Hunter. But that's just a guy who can hit a lot of three-pointers and do a lot more as well. But he's accepted that role at Memphis, where when he was at Wichita State, he was practically the go-to guy every possession. Now he's kind of reeled back a little bit. and he's accepted that role, which I think every team needs. I think that's what made FAU's past two teams really good. They had a lot of role players. Um, Drew, with Memphis, do you think PJ Haggerty, Tyrese Hunter is a duo that can win them games in an NCAA tournament?
I don't know. I don't think it's enough to win them like a string of games. I could definitely see him getting like a. I would see him getting any higher than a 6 seed. That's probably the max I could see, and because I just don't expect him to win every single game out. It's kind of tough to do that, regardless of how good you are. FAU couldn't do that last year, and I think they were definitely a better team. Um, but so no, I just don't. I mean, that's when it comes down to coaching. It's a lot more than just those two guards are spectacular. I watched the game last night against Tulane. PJ Haggerty, I mean, everyone says he gets to the rim and gets fouled better than anyone else, and it's true. And then Tyrese Hunter, he could shoot out of the gym. He's got a great 3-point shot. He's fast. He's tough on defense too. But I definitely think they have the talent. This is where Penny really gets tested. He's never made it out of the first weekend of the NCAA tournament. I think you'd face a really tough caliber team, such as I'm trying to think of a. I mean, better than like a UCF, but some like Big 12 team, like I don't know. I'd really have to look into it. Maybe some Big 10 team like Wisconsin. Like I don't see them beating like a Wisconsin in the second round, or like a Maryland, or that's the kind of caliber program they'd be facing, and yeah, that's when it gets really tough. But that being said, I mean, I might just still be a little lower and skeptical because of Memphis in the past, but this team definitely seems a lot better than those teams. But no, I don't think those two players alone are good enough to get them past, win a lot of games.
You just made a lot of Maryland fans happy, thinking they're getting to a second round. That'd be a feat for Kevin Willard for
They should
sure.
be ranked right now. Did you see? They're 17-5 and like 5-1 in the Big 10, and they cover every single game. They've beaten ranked teams. They should be ranked right now.
Maybe Maryland's back. I don't know. Don't talk a lot of Big Ten over here. But hey, you know what? I don't know. Somebody's got to win the Big Ten this year. I don't know who it'll be, but Purdue seems like the favorite over there. But I want to talk about some teams at the bottom. Well, mainly just one that's surprising to me is Wichita State, 1-7 in the AAC, year 2 of Paul Mills. Lost some close games. They lost to Tulsa. They lost to North Texas by 4. Lost to Memphis by 8. ECU by 3. You can't. But for Wichita State, I feel bad for them in those games. But then they lose UTSA by 13, South Florida by 20. So that's a tough draw. I watched them play against Memphis. It just doesn't seem like they have enough scoring right now, especially in today's day and age. You need 3-point shooting. They don't have any of it. And so, they've got Xavier Bell who's hitting at a 40% clip from 3, but he doesn't shoot a high velocity of them. So I don't know. I was talking with some Wichita State associates. Their rumblings already, from that side of things, from the fan side of things at least, of Paul Mills not getting a year 3 in Wichita. And, I think he's won before at a tough place in Oral Roberts. So it's tough to not want to give him a year 3. But at a school like Wichita, you need basketball. I mean, this is, people have joked around about, when schools have a bad football year to get rid of the football program. But when you don't have a football program, there is a lot of stress on your basketball program. And let's just face it, Wichita, in the early 2010s, they were a consistent NCAA tournament team. Now, their coach had to resign due to unfortunate circumstances, but doesn't mean that Wichita now needs to be relegated to the gutter. So I am hoping Wichita can kind of push it together here for the sake of Paul Mills getting a year 3, but I can also see a world where they don't get a year 3. Drew, do you think it's important for, schools like Wichita, there's other schools, look at a lot of the Big East that don't have football. How paramount is success in basketball?
it's their everything. I mean, you said it. It is so important. They should be one of the top 3 teams every year in basketball. I know that kind of seems like a lot, but the conference is not the most difficult at all. Um, and they don't spend any money on football, nor do they have football. It's been a really poor start to Paul Mills, his regime so far at Wichita State. It's like, imagine Gonzaga's bad at basketball. That can't happen. I mean, for all imagine UTSA is bad at football. I mean, these are all programs that have the money, the funds, the support to absolutely succeed in their respected conferences. And for Paul Mills, there is serious pressure on him. If his team is playing worse than, his team is right now worse than an FAU team that everyone left, coaches taking different jobs, players hitting the portal. It's a brand new team and a brand new staff, and FAU is a better team than Wichita right now. Wichita, they kind of got raided in the transfer portal, and they didn't bring a whole lot more in. They had a nice transfer out of St. Peter's and a nice transfer out of Georgia, but they lost some good players. They weren't able to replace a Colby Rogers, who's found a nice role on Memphis. So, I mean, for the amount of money, in basketball alone that they have, and for the expectation of the program there, Paul Mills is in some serious trouble. And yeah, it's back to your question, Robbie. It's so important that they're good at basketball. What else would they have going for them? I mean, that school, it's got to be depressing right now. They don't play football. They when it comes to, in basketball, I mean, the state of the situation is really poor right now. So it's super important that they get right on track. And is Mills the guy to do that? I mean, we'll see if he makes it to year 3 even.
It's a sad day at the Doodah Diner. Great spot in Wichita, Kansas, by the way. Yeah, the Doodah Diner. They've got banana bread French toast. It's really good. But Drew, gotta keep our promise here. Since we got you over from the betting show, we'll give our picks this weekend for the Saturday-Sunday slate of AAC. I didn't tell you we were doing this ahead of time, so you're just going in blind based off your gut here.
Let's do it.
So first matchup on the schedule, we've got 2 p.m. games on Saturday. We've got UAB hosting Charlotte. No spreads yet, so I mean the best we can do here is just pick them. I'm assuming you're going to go UAB in that one over Charlotte at home.
UAB by double digits. Anything less, I'm taking that. If it gets up to like 14, give me Charlotte.
Yeah, I think Charlotte's had some close games, but they're lacking scoring. G. Rosado is one of their best scorers, and he's going to have his hands full with Gax, who's an incredible defender. So, yeah, give me UAB in that one. Next, we've got Temple, East Carolina. Temple is at home, East Carolina on the road. Pirates checking in at 12-9. Temple at 13-8. I want to just pick Temple because Temple has been playing better, but ECU – let me go to ECU really quickly here in the old stat book. But they are now on a 3-game win streak heading into this one. It's kind of like a little bit of the stretch that FAU is going to have upcoming. And if ECU wins this game, they're all of a sudden, in top 4 in the conference. So I don't know, Drew. I kind of want to take ECU in this one over Temple on the road.
There's no spread for this either.
What? No spread yet.
Who's home in this?
Oh, wait, there might be a spread. Hold on. No spread. Temple's home. ECU is on the road. Temple is 69% favorites according to ESPN Analytics.
This is a classic no bet from me
No?
because I'm so unconfident, but I'm going to give one.
Let me see if I can find the spread while you think about that. No, they don't got it.
Temple by 4. That's what I'm doing. That's what I'm saying happens.
Temple by 4. Jamal Mashburn averaging 21.6 a game. He's going to face off against R.J. Felton, who's averaging 17.9 for the Pirates. So, yeah, I don't know. I'll take ECU in that one by a slim margin. Maybe the Pirates pick one up. Michael Schwartz is on thin luck over there in Greenville. Pirates like good basketball. They haven't been great, but they've been better in AAC play. So we'll see. Next game, Drew, I think is a dead body for the Roadrunners of UTSA hitting the road to head to North Texas. After seeing UTSA against FAU, I am very cautious about even thinking UTSA can keep this within single digits. But you know, I mean, if Primo Spears were to go off for how he's capable of, and they get another performance like they did out of Monsanto, who scored like 30 points against FAU, I could see them making this a game. But at the same time, and it's not like we talked to Miles from North Texas Eagle last week, and that's not like it's much of a home court advantage for the Mean Green. So I don't know, Drew. I mean, I'm assuming you like North Texas in this one, but you think it gets to double figures?
You're right. It's not really a home court advantage. That arena's just way too big. Not their fault. That I mean, 10K is a lot. But yeah, I mean North Texas, but also UTSA is like low key a rivalry for them. People don't really realize that, but those two schools have bad blood, rightfully so. They're in the same conference, same state. I mean, it's like the USF FAU thing. There could be, a complex either way. I'm too good for you, this, that, but you're playing in the same conference in the same state. You are fighting over the same players. Like a lot of similar players choose between the two. So, yeah, no, there's a little bit of bad blood between those two schools. And UNT's been, I think the last 2 or 3 games, they actually went down a little bit and kind of look crappy, but then they pull through big at the end. With that being said, I feel like the spread would be like UTSA -11, and I bet UNT like doesn't cover by a point or something. So I'll say like UNT ends up winning that game like 79-71, but UNT wins by 8-ish, in my opinion.
We shall see. Moving over to the Sunday slate, 2 p.m. games and a 3 p.m.er. First up, FAU South Florida, Battle of SoFlo. It's going to be crazy in there. Students will be hammered. Drew, does FAU find a way to make it back-to-back games where they win by double figures?
Yeah, I'm going to say this is where their good basketball starts. We've seen it early in the year when they were playing confident. They looked like they could play with anyone in the conference. Then we've seen them play really poor basketball and look like they're going to lose to Rice at home. They look like they're going to lose to ECU. They look like they don't play a great game against Tulane. But I think this team follows trends a little bit. And that trend being that when they're playing good, they're going to stay good for a little bit. And I think that FAU beats USF. I think the Ken Palm you said was about 8 points, and that seems about accurate to me. And I think this will be a good crowd because the students love tailgating. I mean, we said it. You'll hear this on Inside the Borough if you're listening. I mean, the FAU student tailgates are a special thing with the school, and there's gonna be a lot of students up ready to go. With some alcohol in their system by 11 a.m. So. Give me FAU by about 8 points.
We shall see. Game on ESPN2, so that's good for the people watching at home. Got to have ESPN Plus. So there you go. Tulsa Tulane getting the ESPN U nod over Memphis Rice. I know Memphis fans are going to love that. But Tulsa's headed to Tulane. This game is the type of game that, unfortunately, for casual basketball viewers, makes the AAC. Makes the casual basketball viewer not like the AAC as much because this just isn't a flashy game. Tulsa struggled this year. They were leading versus UAB for a little bit, and then UAB just came back and put a can of whooping on them. But I don't know. Tulane is 81% favorites according to ESPN. They're coming off a tough loss to Memphis, a game they led for most part. To me, Drew, this game looks like Tulsa's going to get smacked, especially on a Sunday. At least, the students will probably show out for that one for Tulane. They've done a lot of giveaways, so I don't know. I like Tulane by double figures in that one. What do you think?
Tulane by a milli. That's what I like.
Yeah, no. Tulsa, I'm sorry. I've seen Tulsa fans on social media asking for Eric Conkle to get the boot. So that's another name to watch on the AAC hot seat this offseason because Tulsa, they had some crowds back in the day. It's been kind of quiet over there at the Reynolds Center recently, but they got something cooking if they can get the right people in there. It's a smaller town, but a big enough town to where it's like the only thing to do, so they could just pack.
People don't realize that school is so small. I did not realize because they're an
3,000
American
students.
school. They've been there. They've been in the American for a bit. It's the opposite of what the approach that Oresco did when taking in FAU with 30,000 students. UNT has like 50. Like Rice is. I mean, that's smaller, but that's in a big market. Then UAB is not a tiny school, and UTSA is another Texas school with some students. Tulsa is small. Like, oh my goodness. And I guess because Tulsa does not have a large populace there. But wow, that is a tiny school. I did not realize that. It's a really tough job. So any coach that finds success there, I respect that. But Robbie, I'll be right back. Give me 1 second.
We're losing Drew here, folks. But no, to kind of build off of to what Drew was saying, Eric Conkle had success at Louisiana Tech. That's a similar school right there. But Tulsa's kind of different at the same way. So we'll see what happens with Tulsa and Eric Conkle. I'm not too sure, but you know what? They did just let go of Kevin Wilson in football, so maybe it's time to clean sweep in both. But last game, last one, Rice at Memphis. If everyone remembers, Rice went into the FedEx Forum last year and beat Memphis to the dismay of many Memphis fans. That would break the hearts of so many Memphis fans if it happened again this year. But I don't think it will. I think Memphis goes in there and beats the heck out of Rice. Rice is not the best. They've had an up and down stretch as well. I think Rice can keep this game close. They don't have a home court advantage at all, but they've got scrappy basketball. The thing is, they're streaky. Jacob Dar, after shooting the lights out against FAU, goes in the next game and he struggles. So if they can get a good performance from some of those other role player guys outside of Trey Brodna, Rice can keep this game close. But I think Memphis wins this one by double figures, if we're being honest. So, folks, thank you so much for taking some time to hop on and hang out with us here this Friday afternoon. It's just almost 5 o'clock. If you listen to this after work, I hope you have a great weekend. If you're listening to this while you're at work, it's almost 5 o'clock. And thanks for listening to us while you're on the clock. We appreciate it. If you missed the first half, Kaleb Glenn talks everything FAU hoops with us. Stay tuned tonight. Inside the Borough, our specific FAU podcast through FAU Owl's Nest. We got a football special guest, Gavin Marcelin. Thank you so much for FAU Communications Department for hooking us up with two awesome players this week on both of our streaming platforms right here on Bleacher Brothers Sports Network. You got the Lastella Report and you got FAU Owl's Nest Inside the Borough. We talk everything FAU. We talk everything AAC. If you're a new viewer. If you're an old viewer, we love you. If you're a new viewer, we also love you. But folks, once again, thank you very much for hopping on with us. We'll see you next week. Might have some more guests for you. Stay tuned. Take care, folks.